Hare Krishna. So we're continuing with the Sri Bhagavatamrta study session, chapter 6, Priyatama, the most beloved. Text 1 to 3. Sri Parikshit Uvacha Tachrutvaraya Mahaprema Rasaveshena Yantrita Mahavishnu Priyo Veena Hastosau Vismrita Sadadvaravati Vasa Bhyastanta Puravartamana Prabhu Prasada Deshanta Praveshasharyavahina Purvabhyasat ivabhyasam prasadasya gato muni bhuta vishto mahonmada grihitascha yatetara. Parikshit said, O noble lady, after hearing Ugrasena's advice, Narada, the dear devotee of Lord Mahavishnu, became absorbed in the taste of exalted love of God, which seized him in its grip. Became absorbed in the taste of exalted love of God, which seized him in its grip. Forgetting everything else, he started off Veena in hand. Having spent much time before in Dwaraka, Narada automatically took the familiar roads to the center of the city, amazing roads that led to the neighborhood of the Lord's palaces, and came to a palace of Krishna's that he knew how to reach from earlier visits. Of intense transcendental agitation, Narada seemed like an ordinary person haunted by a ghost. Under the spell of intense transcendental agitation, Narada seemed like an ordinary person haunted by a ghost. O mother, hearing the glories of Uddhava, the sage Narada went near the Lord's palace. 3 verses are joined together. Narada had his veena in his hand but did not play it because he had forgotten everything concerning his body. How did he go to the palace? He went from previous practice. He went by the road to the palace, a road familiar because he always lived in Dwaraka, a road producing great varieties of astonishment with various turns and paths which led to the vicinity of Krishna's palace. He went because he had previously gone many times. The word Eva is used to suggest that though he was under the control of great prema, he could not forget the road to the Lord. Or the word Eva is used without special meaning. Controlled by great bewilderment, he went like an ordinary person haunted by a ghost, or he became like a person haunted by a ghost. Controlled by great bewilderment, he went like an ordinary person haunted by a ghost, or he became like a person haunted by a ghost. Cha means va, or he went just like a person controlled by madness. Text 4. Bhumau kwapi skhalati patati kwapi tishtati acheshta kwapi uktampam bhajati luthati kwapi roditi athartha kwapi akroshan pludibhir ayate gayati kwapi nrityan sarvam kwapi shrayati yugapat prema sampad vikaram. He sometimes tripped and fell on the ground and sometimes stood motionless. Sometimes his body trembled or he rolled on the ground or he wept in great distress. He sometimes shouted and jumped about, sometimes sang and danced, and sometimes all the transformations of the priceless prema converged in him at once. And sometimes all the transformations of priceless prema converged in him at once. His insane activities are described. He moved by jumping, sometimes or at some places simultaneously. His whole body developed ecstatic symptoms like shivering, perspiration, standing of hairs on end, and crying. Text 5. He manmatar idani tvam savadhanatara bhava stiratam prapayanti mam sadhayam shrunvidam swayam. Oh, my mother, please now be fully attentive, making me steady, listen soberly to what I am about to say. Oh, my mother, he calls out to her, since she should develop special prema by concentrating her mind on the astonishing activities of the Lord which will be spoken. Listen carefully now. Listen carefully now. He was about to praise special, most enchanting activities of the Lord. Make me remain steady or make me return to normal state if I develop intense prema. Hear what I will speak with composure. Text 6 to 8. Tasmina hanikena pi vaimanasyena vishana anta prakoshte suptasya prabhu pashvam vihayasa adura dehali prante nivishta Srimad Uddhava Baladevo Devaki cha Rohini Rukmini tatha Satyabhama dayo nyascha Devya Padmavati cha sa pravritti harini kamsa mata dasyas tatha para. That day, Lord Krishna was for some reason disturbed in mind and sleep in the inner quarters, and Uddhava had left him and sat down nearby on a terrace at the edge. There Uddhava was joined by Baladeva, Devaki, and Rohini, and queens of Krishna like Rukmini and Satyabhama, as well as various maidservants and other ladies, including Kamsa's mother, Padmavati, a lady who had the habit of making public gossip out of Krishna's personal affairs. The disturbance to his mind is not specified, since it should be revealed later, or because Parikshit feared his mother would faint. The Lord had become absent-minded or was suffering mentally. Vaimanasyena. Because of the Lord's mental suffering, Uddhava gave up the Lord's side as he slept in an inner room of his palace. Because of the Lord's mental suffering, Uddhava gave up the Lord's side as he slept in an inner room of his palace. Uddhava, who was glorious as described as sought by Narada, was sitting at the edge of a raised terrace. Baladeva and others were also sitting there. The famous Padmavati Kamsa's mother was also there. She was famous because she was cheated by the demon Durmila, who disguised himself as Ugrasena, and by him both Kamsa as a son. She was famous because she was cheated by the demon Durmila, who disguised himself as Ugrasena, and by him both Kamsa as a son. She would broadcast to the public news about Krishna. She lived there at all times. Text 9. Tushnim bhutascha te sarve vartamana vismayam tatra Shri Naradam praptam aikshanta purva cheshtitam. All of them sat there silent, perplexed. They saw that Narada had arrived and that he was acting in an astonishing manner. All of them sat there silent, perplexed. They saw that Narada had arrived and that he was acting in an astonishing manner. They saw that Narada had arrived and that he was acting in an astonishing manner. Perplexed because the Lord was sleeping untimely, they remained there with him. They saw Narada endowed with wealth of special prema or with beauty caused by that prema, who had come near the Lord's palace. Narada was acting in an astonishing manner or in a way previously unseen. Apurva Cheshtitam. Text 10. Uttaya yatnad aniya swastyam nitva kshanenatam premashru klinna vadanam prakshalyahu shaner laghu. Standing up, they brought him carefully to where they had been sitting. Standing up, they brought him carefully to where they had been sitting. They took a moment to restore him to a condition closer to normal and wiped dry his face, moist with tears of prema. Then they spoke to him simply and gently. He stood at a distance. Forcibly, they brought him close. They wiped his face with, which was moist with tears of prema. They spoke to him softly and with few words, since they worried that the Lord's sleep would be broken or feared the Lord would be disturbed in mind. They spoke to him softly and with few words, since they worried that the Lord's sleep would be broken or feared the Lord would be disturbed in mind. Text 11. Adrishtapurvam asmabhi kidrisham te dyacheshtitam akasmikam idam brahmams tushnim upavishakshanam. They said, we have never seen you behave like this. What is the sudden change in you, your dear Brahmana? Please sit here quietly for a moment. This astonishing behavior consisted of actions like stumbling, etc. They urged him to be quiet because of the fear of waking the Lord or disturbing his mind, as previously explained. This astonishing behavior consisted of actions like stumbling, etc. They because of the fear of waking the Lord or disturbing his mind, as previously explained. Text 12. Shri Parikshit Uvacha Sagad Gadam Uvachashru Dhara Militalochane Yatnad Unmilayan Natva Sakampa Pulakachita. Parikshit said, Narada replied in a choking voice with tears flowing from his eyes as he began to speak. As he began to speak, he opened his eyes with difficulty and bowed down to offer respects. He was trembling and the hairs on his body stood erect. He opened his eyes, which were closed because of streams of tears. He offered them respects. He opened his eyes, which were closed because of streams of tears. He offered them respects. Text 13. Shri Narada Uvacha Manognya Saubhagya Bharaika Bhajanam Maya Samam Sangamaya Dvam Uddhavam Tadiya Padaika Rajotha Bhava Bhavet Va Bhavet Rajota Va Bhavet Tadaiva Shantir Badame Antar Atmana. Narada said, please arrange for me to meet with Uddhava, the only true object of exquisite good fortune. Please arrange for me to meet with Uddhava, the only true object of exquisite good fortune, or else let me have from his feet one particle of dust, then alone will I have peace of mind. Uddhava was present there very close, but Narada did not see him because of his prema. Narada said, please arrange for Uddhava to meet with me. Thinking that meeting Uddhava would be improper for him, he then suggested obtaining dust from his feet. Then I will have peace of mind, Antaratmana. I am in this condition because I have not attained Uddhava. This is thus an answer about his strange behavior that day. This is thus an answer about his strange behavior that day. Text 14. Puratanair adhunikaisha sevakair alabdham aptolam anugraham prabho mahattamo bhagavateshu yastato mahavibhuti swayam uchyate chaya. He has received an abundance of our Lord's mercy never gained by the Lord's other servants in the past or even now. Because Uddhava is the greatest of all Vaishnavas, the Lord himself calls Uddhava one of his own special expansions. He has received an abundance of our Lord's mercy, never Lord's other servants in the past or even now. Because Uddhava is the greatest of all Vaishnavas, the Lord himself calls Uddhava one of his own special expansions. Because Uddhava is the greatest of all Vaishnavas, the Lord himself calls Uddhava one of his own special expansions. He glorifies Uddhava with reasons in 5 verses, 14 to 18. Uddhava has received the greatest mercy of Krishna. Because of that, he is the best among the Lord's devotees. Uddhava is called a great Vibhuti, Mahavibhuti by the Lord himself. Among all the Lord's Vibhutis, he is the best. Vasudevo Bhagavatam Tvam Tu Bhagavateshvaham Kim Purushanam Hanuman Vidyadranam Sudarshana. Among those entitled to the name Bhagavan, I am Vasudeva, and indeed you, Uddhava, represent me among the devotees. I am Hanuman among the Kim Purushas, and among the Vidyadharas, I am Sudarshana. Srimad Bhagavatam 11, 16, 29. Text 15. Purve pare cha tanaya kamala sanadya sankarshanadi sahaja suhruda shivadya bharya ramadaya utanu pama swamurtir nasyu prabho priyatama yad apeksha yaho. No one has ever been as dear to the Lord, neither the Lord's direct sons like Brahma, nor friends like Shiva, nor brothers like Balarama, nor the goddess Rama, or the Lord's other wives. No one has ever been as dear to the Lord, neither the Lord's direct sons like Brahma, nor friends like Shiva, nor brothers nor like Balarama, nor the goddess Rama, or the Lord's other wives. Not even his own form is as dear. What can be said? He is greater than any other servant or even the Lord's sons. Brothers like Balarama, friends like Shiva, and even the Lord's own extraordinary form are not as dear as Uddhava. Aho indicates surprise, is dearer than all of them. Is dearer than all of them. Na tatha me priyatama atma yonir na shankara na cha sankarshano na shrir naivatma cha yatha bhavan. Neither Brahma, Shiva, Sankarshana, the goddess of fortune, nor even my own self are as dear to me as you are. Srimad Bhagavatam 11, 14, 15. According to Srila Swami, Krishna should have said Yatha Bhakta, but used the word Bhavan. This verse was quoted in the glorification of Prahlada. However, here the word Bhavan refers to Uddhava directly. Text 16 to 18. Bhagavad Vachanani eva pratidani puranata tasya saubhagya sandoha mahimnam vyanjakani alam tasmin prasada jatani Shri Krishna ya Shri Krishnasya bhutani api jagad vilakshnani adya gitani yadupungavai pravishya karna dvarena mama kramya hrudalayam madiyam sakalam dhairya dhanam luntanti ha hat. The Lord's own words, disclosed in the Puranas, tell the abounding glories of Uddhava's good fortune. The Lord's own words, disclosed in the abounding glories of Uddhava's good fortune. Those words, born of Krishna's costless mercy, are unlike any others heard in the world, in this world. Those words, born of Krishna's costless mercy, are unlike any others heard in this world. The Yadava heroes never tell those words in songs. Alas, when those words enter the abode of my heart through the gateway of the ears, they steal all my wealth of sobriety. These words, born of Krishna's costless mercy, are unlike any others heard in this world. The Yadava words, born of those words, born of Krishna's costless mercy, are unlike any others heard in this world. The Yadava heroes now tell those words in songs. Alas, when those words enter the abode of my heart through the gateway of the my wealth of sobriety, saying that the Lord's words and their results are proof. He shows Uddhava's glories. They had asked Narada, what is this extraordinary behavior of yours? He answers here, you ask the question and here I speak the answer. It's because of Uddhava's great glories. In 3 verses, he describes those glories. The Lord's words of praise are as follows. Athaitat paramam guhyam shrunvato yadunandana sugopyam api vakshyami tvam me bhritya suhrutsakha. O beloved of the Yadu dynasty, because you are my servant, well-wisher and friend, I shall now speak to you, who listen well the supreme secret. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.11.49. No dhavonva api man no yad gune nardita prabhu ato madvayunam lokam grahayan tishtatu. Uddhava is not less than me because he is master of Maya and not at all lacking in any spiritual quality. He should remain on this earth, giving knowledge of me to the world. Srimad Bhagavatam 3:431. The words arise from Krishna's mercy to Uddhava, Tasmin Prasada Jatani. The words are sung in the assembly pleasant voice by Ugrasena, best of the Yadus. The words are sung in the assembly with great joy and pleasant voice by Ugrasena, best of the Yadus. The words enter the abode of my heart through the ears and forcibly spread and plunder the treasure of my self-control by force. The words are famous in the Puranas such as Bhagavatam. They reveal profoundly the glories of Uddhava with his abundant good fortune. The words which arose from the mercy of the Lord are most astonishing, since they are unique in the universe. Vilakshanani. They are like a thief who, bewildering people, enters a house and steals everything. Text 19 to 21. Shri Parikshit Uvacha Uddhavo Tyanta Sambranto Drutam Utthaya Tatpadao Nidhayanke Samalingya Tasya Vipretya Hrudgatam Hrudprapta Bhagavat Tattat Prasada Bhag दीय प्रेम संपत्ति विभव स्मृति यंत्रिता रोदनेर्विवशोदीनो यत्न धैर्यं श्रितो मुनिम् अवधाप्याः मात्सर्यात् सात्विकात् प्रमुदं गता. Parikshit said, impelled by great respect for Narada, Uddhava suddenly stood up, held Narada's feet and embraced them. Aware of what Narada was thinking, Uddhava remembered many devotees who had received the Lord's special mercy. Parikshit said, impelled by great respect for Narada, Uddhava suddenly stood up, held Narada's feet, and embraced them. Aware of what Narada was thinking, Uddhava remembered many devotees who had received the Lord's special mercy. As Uddhava meditated on those devotees, their prema for the Lord and the wealth of their loving ecstasies, he felt distress, thinking himself fallen, and cried helplessly. As Uddhava meditated on those devotees, their prema for the Lord and the wealth of their loving ecstasies, he felt distress. He felt distress, thinking himself fallen, and cried helplessly. Only with some effort was he able to regain his composure. Only with some effort he was able to regain his composure. Then he became joyful and spoke to the sage, moved by the sattvika emotion of jealousy. Then he became joyful and spoke to the sage, moved by the sattvika emotion of jealousy. The 3 verses make one sentence. Uddhava spoke, directing himself to Narada. All had been sitting down. Previously, they had told Narada to sit for a while to recover. They all sat with him. Now, now Uddhava rose from his seat, Narada's feet on his lap and embraced them. He could understand Abhipretya that Narada was trying to find the Lord's object of mercy, Hridgatam. He could understand that Narada was trying to find the Lord's object of mercy. He remembered those who had obtained the great indescribable mercy of the Lord, or he remembered the many famous devotees such as Radha who had received the Lord's great mercy. He became pained on remembering how they endowed with a wealth of prema, cried in pain, vibhava, or on remembering the weeping in Lakshmi's prema. He became pained on remembering how they endowed with a wealth of prema, cried in pain, or on remembering the weeping in Lakshmi's prema. He became pained on remembering how they He became pained on remembering how they endowed with a wealth of prema, cried in pain, vibhava, or on remembering the weeping in Lakshmi's prema, or he became pained on remembering the manifestation of a wealth of symptoms of prema like perspiration. He became pained on remembering how they endowed with a wealth of prema, in or on remembering the weeping in Lakshmi's prema, or he became pained on remembering the manifestation of a wealth of symptoms of prema like perspiration, shivering and hair standing on end. Great prema had manifested in Uddhava. Thus he was miserable, Dina. With efforts of Narada, Balarama and others, or by his own attempts, he became peaceful, Dhairyam Shrita. He felt joy arising from envy, hatred of another person's good fortune, Matsaryat. He felt joy arising from envy, hatred of another person's good fortune, but which arose from Sattva Guna, actually Shuddha Sattva, not Rajas or Tamas, since the lower gunas were absent in him. Since hatred does not exist in Shuddha Sattva, mental suffering or envy cannot occur. Rather, by describing exalted devotees with absorption resembling rivalry, he attained the highest bliss. Text 22 to 23. Srimad Uddhava Uvacha Sarvagnya Satyavak Shreshta Mahamunivara Prabho Bhagavad Bhakti Margadi Gurunoktam Tvayeha Yat Tat Sarvam Adhikam Chasmat Satyam Eva Mai Sputam Varteteti Maya Gyat Asid Anyer Api Dhruvam. Uddhava said, O omniscient Narada, most truthful speaker, greatest of sages, you are the master who teaches the means and the end of bhakti to the Supreme Lord. Uddhava said, O omniscient Narada, most truthful speaker, greatest of sages, you are the master who teaches the means and the end of bhakti to the Supreme Lord. All you just said about me and more is self-evident to me. I knew it was true before you said it, and so did others. O omniscient Narada, this means you know Radha and others. Uddhava said, O omniscient Narada, most truthful speaker, greatest of sages, you're the master who teaches the means and the end of bhakti to the Supreme Lord. All you just said about me and more is self-evident to me. I knew it was true before you said it, and so did others. O omniscient Narada, this means you know Radha and others, the great objects of Krishna's mercy. You know Radha and others, the great objects of Krishna's mercy, O best among speakers of truth like Yudhishthira. This means to me is all true. O best among the sages like Vyasa, you alone can describe their glories, no one else can. O Lord, whatever you desire must be followed. You are the first Guru on the path of Bhakti, Bhagavad Bhakti Margadi Guruna. Thus you must be the recipient of the Lord's great mercy. Thus, you must be the recipient of the Lord's great mercy because of your devotion to the Lord. Thus, you must be the recipient of the Lord's great mercy because of your devotion to the Lord. Bhakti will spread everywhere by your teachings. Thus, you must be the recipient of the Lord's great mercy because of your devotion to the Lord. Bhakti will spread everywhere by your teachings. You alone are the recipient of the Lord's great mercy. Or Uddhava calls out to Narada many times because his prema was awakened. And more than what you said is true. This is known to others like Ugrasena as well. Text 24. Idina idanim yad vraje gatva kim api anva bhavam tataha mahasaubhagya mano me sata sadyash churnatam gata. Recently, having gone to Vraja, I've experienced something which crushed my pride, my good fortune. Recently, having gone to Vraja, I experienced something which crushed my pride in my good fortune. Recently, having gone to Vraja, I experienced something which crushed my pride in my good fortune. I experienced something indescribable, yat kimapi, when I went to Vraja. Because of that experience, my pride in my good fortune was immediately crushed. Or the indescribable pride in my good fortune, which was described by you and known by me, was immediately crushed. This suggests that his pride was huge like Sumeru, but was easily crushed. Text 25. Tata eva hi krishnasya tat prasadasya chadbhuta tat premnopi maya gyata madhuri tadvatam tatha. Since then, I have understood the amazing sweetness of Krishna's mercy, prema, and those who possess that prema. From that realization, Tata, I have understood the amazing sweetness of Krishna's mercy, prema, and his devotees possessing prema, tadvatam. Since then, I have understood the amazing sweetness of Krishna's mercy, prema, and those who possess that prema. From that realization, I've understood the amazing sweetness of Krishna's mercy, prema, and his devotees possessing prema, tadvatam. Text 26. Tad darshanenaiva gatoti dhanyatam tarhi eva samyak prabhunanu kampitam tasya prasadatisha ya spadam tatha matva swam ananda bhara Pluto Bhavam. Just by what I saw in Vraja, I came to be most blessed. I was swept away in an ocean of ecstasy, thinking myself completely favored by the Lord. Thinking myself completely favored by the Lord, a recipient of his most extreme mercy, just by seeing the inhabitants of Vraja, tad darshanena, or by that realization, I became extremely fortunate. At that time, I considered myself to be completely the object of his mercy. At that time, I considered myself to be completely the object of his mercy. Tatha means all this. Understanding myself to be the object of Krishna's mercy, Tata means all this, understanding myself to mercy, I became filled with great bliss. I was inundated in an ocean of the highest bliss. Text 27. Gayam Gayam Yad Abhilashata Yat Tato Nutishtitam Yat Tat Sarvesham Suviditam Idaha Shakyate Nyan Vaktum Natva Natva Munivara Maya Pratyase Kakubistvam Tat Tad Vritta Shravana Rasata Samshayeta Viramam. Everyone here knows very well that what I then sang in my ecstasy, what desires I had and what I did. Better for now not to speak on those matters further. O best of sages, I bow down to you again and again, and I beseech you. O best of sages, I bow down to you again and again, and I beseech you. Please curb your eagerness to relish those various affairs. Everyone knows what I sang because of that realization, Tataha, or because of realization in Braja. He sang as follows. Everyone knows what I sang because of that realization, Tataha, or because of that realization in Braja. He sang as follows. Everyone knows what I sang because of that realization, or because of that realization in Braja. He sang as follows. Eta param tanu brito bhuvi gopavadho govinda eva nikhilatmaniruda bhava vanchanti yad bhava bhyo munayo vayam cha kim brahma janma bhir ananta katha rasasya. Among all persons on earth, these coward women alone have attained perfect bodies, for they have achieved mahabhava for Govinda, the source of all forms of the Lord. Their pure love is desired by those who fear material existence, by great sages, and by ourselves as well. For one who has tasted the narrations of the infinite Lord, what is the use of taking birth as a high class Brahmana or even as Brahma himself? Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-58. He desired to be a shrub to take the foot dust of the gopis. He desired to be a shrub to take the foot dust of the gopis. Asam ahocharana renu jusham aham syam vrindavane kim api gulma latau shadhinam ya dushyajam swajanam arya patham chahitva bhejur mukunda padavim shrutibhir vimrugyam. The gopis of Vrindavana have given up the association of their husbands, sons, and other family members who are very difficult to give up, and they have forsaken their relatives in the path of dharma to obtain the lotus feet of Mukunda, Krishna, which even the Vedas pursue. Oh, let me be fortunate enough to be one of the bushes, creepers, or herbs in Vrindavana, because the gopis blessed them with the dust of their lotus feet. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-61. His action was offering respects. Vande Nanda Vraja Strinam Padarenum Abhikshnasha Yasam Harikotad Geetam Punati Bhuvanatrayam. I repeatedly offer my respects to the dust from the feet of the women of Nanda Maharaja's covered village. I repeatedly offer my respects to the dust from the feet of the women of Nanda Maharaja's covered village. From the feet of the women of Nanda Maharaja's covered village. When these gopis loudly chant the glories of Krishna, the vibration purifies the three worlds. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-63. Everyone knows very well what I sang, what I desired, and what I did. Though it should not be kept secret that Radha is the greatest object of Krishna's mercy, since it's well known, it cannot be spoken elsewhere, ita anyat, or else only in a general way. Though it should not be kept secret that Radha is the greatest object of Krishna's mercy, since it's well known, though it should not be kept secret that Radha is the greatest object of Krishna's mercy, since it's well known, it cannot be spoken elsewhere, or else only in a general way. Satyabhama and others will become unhappy at the glorification of the gopis, since the queens will fear the competition, or we fear that the Lord will develop great pain from intense prema. By hearing these topics, I can determine who is the greatest recipient of his mercy. I am persistent in finding this out. I'm persistent in finding this out. Therefore, please speak in detail. Please give up greed or for hearing about the various topics or the topics of the gopis and Krishna. Otherwise, great calamity will occur. Text 28, Shri Parikshit Uvacha Tadvakya Tattvam Vignaya Rohini Sasram Abravid Chiragokula Vasena Tatratya Janasammata. Parikshit said, because Rohini had long lived in Gokula, its residents held her in high regard. She knew the inner meaning of Uddhava's words. So, with tears in her eyes, she decided to speak. However, when dedicated devotees of Krishna gathered, this topic cannot be suppressed. Rohini, understanding the import, tattva of Uddhava, spoke with tears. The import was the people of Raja and no one else were the objects of Krishna's great mercy. Rohini was very dear to the people of Gokula, Sammata, or she held them dear. The import was the people of Raja and no one else were the objects of Krishna's great mercy. Rohini was very dear to the people of Gokula, or she held them dear. The import was the people of Raja, no one else were the objects of Krishna's great mercy. Rohini was very dear to the people of Gokula, or she held them dear. Text 29 to 30. Shri Rohini Uvacha Astan Shri Haridasatvam Mahadu Daiva Maritan Saubhagya Gandharahitan Nimagnan Dainya Sagare Tattad Vadhava Vahni Arches Tapyamanan Vishakulan Kshana Chinta Sukhinyame Masmrite Padavim Naya. Rohini said, Alas, dear servant of Hari, the residents of Raja have by evil fate been all but slain. Have by evil fate been all but slain. They have lost the last trace of good fortune and are drowning in an ocean of misery. They suffer poison and scorched in the flame of fire. So please do not destroy my moment of happiness by reminding me of them. And indicates great sorrow, O servant of the Lord Uddhava. Do not make me remember the people of Raja. The reason is given. They have been completely overcome, Maritan, by great misfortune, which is inconceivable. Thus, they are devoid of a trace of the good fortune of being favored by Krishna. They are not touched by anything related to good fortune, submerged in an ocean of misery. They are burned by the Vadhava fire of lamentation. They're bewildered as if by poison because of increased prema. I was happy, Sukhinya, not thinking of them for a moment. Do not give me such sorrow by remembering them. Uddhava sung of the gopis particularly. Rohini uses the masculine plural, whereas he does not. However, Rohini statement indicates that all the people of Raja suffered since she was affectionate to all of them. Of course, Yashoda and others were terribly afflicted and she mentioned them next. Text 31 to 32. Aham Shri Vasudevena Samanita Tato Yada Yashodaya Mahartayas Tada Nintana Rodanai Gravo Piroditi Ashanet Apyan Antardalati Dhruvam Jivan Mritanam Vartam Kopi Mukham Nayet. When Vasudeva brought me back from Gokula, the cries of the greatly distraught Yashoda made even stones shed tears and lightning bolts shatter. When Vasudeva brought me back from Gokula, the cries of the greatly distraught Yashoda made even stones shed tears and lightning bolts shatter. And who can let the mouth speak about the other women of Raja who after Krishna left became like living corpses? Not being able to tolerate the situation, she describes what happened in 2 verses. When I was brought from Gokula, the stones, though very hard, wept. They became liquid. Thunderbolts, even harder, split open. And the Dalati, harder than that was someone's heart. It did not melt from the cries of Yashoda. What a person, man or woman, can speak about the condition of other women, Radha and the gopis. Text 33. Athagatam guru griha Tvat prabhum pratikinchana sankshepanaiva tadvrittam dukkhad akatayam kudhi. But I am not very intelligent. After your Lord returned from the house of his guru, my sadness drove me to tell how the Brajavasis were fearing. But after your Lord returned from the house of his Guru, my sadness drove me to tell him briefly how the Vrajavasis were faring. After I had been brought from Gokula, I spoke very briefly about Vraja to Krishna when he returned from Sandipani's house. I spoke a little because I feared his lamentation. Though I knew that I would not achieve the result I wanted, I spoke because I was suffering. Though I knew that I would not achieve the result I wanted, I spoke because I was suffering. Though I knew that I would not achieve the result I wanted, I spoke because I was suffering according to the maxim on revealing one's suffering, one becomes happy. If I did not speak, I would suffer, but it is unsuitable to speak at the wrong place. I spoke because I was unintelligent. Kudi. Text 34. Nahi komalitam tam chittam, nahi komalitam chittam, tenapi asya yato bhavan, sandesha chaturi vidya, pragalbha prayashita param. This though did not soften his heart, because all it did in response was send you, an expert in the clever art of delivering messages. Because all it did in response was send you, an expert in the clever art of delivering messages. By my speaking the news, his heart did not soften. It was certain the symptom was that Uddhava was sent there. Only you were sent, and Krishna did not go in person. But that should not. That should also be auspicious. You are skillful in the art of clever speaking, or you are skillful in knowing how to speak cleverly. By that speaking, the people of Raja become most grief-stricken and not at all pacified. By that speaking, the people of Raja become more grief-stricken and not at all pacified. By that speaking, the people of Raja become more grief-stricken and not at all pacified. Ayam eva hi kim teshu tvat prabho paramo mahan anugraha prasado yas tatparyeno chate tvaya. Is this your Lord's greatest favor and mercy on them? As your words imply? Is this behavior endowed with mercy to them, or was he pleased to give mercy to them, which was implied by your words, though not spoken directly? Tatparyena. Text 36 to 38. Mama pratyaksham evedam yada Krishno vraje vrajat tato hi putanadibhya keshyantebhyo muhurmuhu daityebhyo varunendradi devebhyo jaga radita तथा चिरन्तनस्वीय शकटार्जुन भङ्गता को वा नोपद्रवस्तत्र जातो व्रजविनाशक तत्रत्यास्तु जना किञ्चित्ते नुसन्दधे न तत्. My own experience is this: when Krishna lived in Vraja, so many calamities threatened to destroy it. Vraja was disturbed by demons from Putana to Keshi, by devatas like Varuna and Indra, by creatures like the python, and by the things at Krishna's house, like the cart and the Arjuna trees. But to these dangers, the residents paid no regard. And when Krishna was there, they did not at all have happiness. Rohini speaks with great suffering. I experienced this misery, pratyaksham, so since I lived in Braja for a long time, even before Krishna came there. Starting from the time when Krishna came there, Braja was disturbed by demons like Putana and by devatas like Varuna, who stole Nanda. Raja was disturbed by demons like Putana and by devatas like Varuna, who stole Nanda. Vraja was disturbed by demons like Putana and by devatas like Varuna, who stole Nanda, and Indra was poured. Vraja was disturbed by demons like Putana and by devatas like Varuna, who stole Nanda, and Indra who poured rain on Vraja, by animals like the python which tried to swallow Nanda at Saraswati Tirtha, as well as Adita, Kaliya, who on Kamsa's order poisoned the Yamuna. As well as Kaliya, who on Kamsa's order poisoned the Yamuna. As well as Kaliya, who on Kamsa's order poisoned the Yamuna. Vraja was disturbed by the breaking of the ancient cart and the Arjuna trees. The cart is called its own Sviya because it served as a cart and umbrella. But the people did not lose affection for Krishna. Rather, the affection increased. What danger did not arise there? The people did not pay attention to the appearance of dangers or did not consider it a danger at all. They did not at all consider. Some unhappy situation has occurred for us. Let's counteract this. Text 39. Mohita eva Krishnasya mangalam tatra tatrahi. Ichanti sarvada swiyam napekshante cha karhichit. As if entranced in each and event, they only wanted Krishna's welfare. They never thought about themselves. The cause is explained. They were as if bewildered. Krishna had taken away their sense of discernment, since actually they could not be bewildered materially, or they were like other people who become tricked by magic, because at all times they desire only Krishna's safety in all these dangers. They did not consider their own safety. Text 40. Swabhava Sahrudena Yat Kinchit Sarvamatmana Asyopa Kalpayante Sma Nanda Suno Sukhayatat. Out of natural fondness for the son of Nanda, they fully dedicated everything they owned to his pleasure. Out of natural fondness for the son of Nanda, they fully dedicated everything they owned to his pleasure. They offered upakalpayante, or provided everything to Krishna for his happiness because of prema alone, which was their nature. There was no particular cause. Seeing him as a son of Nanda, they did not consider him the supreme lord, using terms like son of the Yadu dynasty. They related with him out of manifestation of the highest prema. Offered or provided everything to Krishna for his happiness because of prema alone, which was their nature. There was no particular cause. Seeing him as a son of Nanda, they did not consider him the supreme lord, using terms like son of the Yadu dynasty. They did not consider him the supreme lord, using terms like son of Yadu dynasty. Seeing him as a son of Nanda, Nandasuno, they did not consider him the supreme lord, using terms like son of the Yadu dynasty. They did not consider him the supreme lord, using terms like son of the Yadu dynasty. They related with him out of manifestation of the highest prema. Text 41. Tadanim api namisham kinchitvat prabhuna. they related with him out of manifestation of the highest prema. Text 41. Tadanim api nama Tadanim api nama sasham kinchit tvat prabhuna kritam idanim sadhita swarto yachakreyam kwa vachmitat. Even then, your Lord did nothing to help them. And who could bear to hear me say what he has been doing now to accomplish the goals of his other devotees? Even then, your Lord did nothing to help them. And who could bear to hear me say what he has been doing now to accomplish the goals of his other devotees? She draws the conclusion. He did not do anything for the people of Raja. He also fulfilled his purpose with his relatives and lived happily with them in Mathura. Or he accomplished his own purpose of killing Kamsa by living incognito with the people of Raja. To whom will I say that your master has given up his devotees? I cannot say this to anyone, since there's no one suitable at this place, or because I fear criticizing Krishna. Text 42. Shri Parikshit Uvacha Tachrutva Dushta Kamsasya Janani Drishta Cheshtita Jarahata Vicharasa Sashira Kampam Abravit. Parikshit said, upon hearing this, the mother of the wicked Kamsa spoke out, her head shaking, her manner bold, her intelligence spoiled by old age. It said, upon hearing this, the mother of the wicked Kamsa spoke out, her head shaking, her manner bold, her intelligence spoiled by old age. The mother of Kamsa was bold in her actions, being without shyness, because she had a son, Kamsa, born from through the demon Drumila. The three adjectives describing a mother of Kamsa, boldness and lack of intelligence because of old age, are the cause of her bad words. She was well known for her lack of intelligence, since she greatly lamented the death of her son Kamsa. She greatly lamented the death of her son Kamsa. She shook her head because of old age, or to show cleverness at criticizing Rohini's words. She shook her head because of old age, or to show cleverness at criticizing Rohini's words. Text 43. Padmavatyuvacha aho badachyutastesham gopanam akripavatam abalyat kantakaranye palayam asa goganan. Padmavati said, just see, since childhood our Krishna has stayed in the forest full of thorns to guard the cows of those merciless cowards. How unfortunate. Krishna, steady in spite of the hardships, herded the cows of the merciless cowards. Text 44. Padukena dadus tesmai kadachit chakshudatra gorasam bhakshayet kinchid imam badnanti tatstriya. They never even gave him shoes. And if, when tormented by hunger, he sometimes drank a little milk, the coward woman would tie him up. They never even gave him shoes. And if, when tormented by hunger, he sometimes drank a little milk, the coward woman would tie him up. Their merciless nature is shown till verse 45. The cowards did not give shoes to Krishna, exhausted from hunger. If he drank some buttermilk, the coward with cow ropes. This relates to the Damodara story. Vatsan munchan pachid asamaye krosha sanjata vasa steyam swadvati atadadi paya kalpitai steya yogai. Your son sometimes comes to our houses before the milking of the cows and releases the calves. And when the master of the house becomes angry, your son merely smiles. Sometimes he devises some process by which he steals palatable curd, butter, and milk, which he then eats and drinks. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-29. Text 45. Akroshanti cha tad dukkham kala gatyaiva krishnasha krishnena sodham aduna kim kartavyam bada param. And they also scolded him because he was young. Krishna had no choice but to tolerate all this pain. But what does he have to do for those people now? And they also scolded him because he was young. Krishna had no choice but to tolerate all this pain. But what does he have to do for these people now? And they also scolded him because he was young. Krishna had no choice but to tolerate all this pain. But what does he have to do for those people now? The suffering is hurting the cows was because of his youth, Kala Gatya, when he did not consider suffering. Or he had to endure the suffering at that time in order to live secretly to fool Kamsa. Bata indicates lamentation. What else should he do for these people now? Text 46. Shri Parikshit Uvacha Prajna Gambirya Rohini Vrajavallabha Tasya Vakyam Anadritya Prastutam Samshrunoti Tad. Parikshit said Rohini, the darling of Raja, was fully endowed with gravity and wisdom. Ignoring Padmavati's remarks, she went on finish what she was saying. Parikshit said Rohini, the darling of Raja, was fully endowed with gravity and wisdom. Parikshit said Rohini, the darling of Raja, was fully endowed with gravity and wisdom. Ignoring Padmavati's remarks, she went on to finish what she was saying. Rohini ignored Padmavati's foolish words as if she did not hear them and finished her own statement. She was endowed with a depth of wisdom or with wisdom and gravity. Prajna Gambirya Sampurna, text 47. Shri Rohini Uvacha Rajadhanim Yad Prapta Shri Maturam Ayam Hatari Vargo Vishranto Raja Rajeshwaro Bhavat. Rohini said, then Krishna went to Mathura, the capital of the Yadus. He killed many enemies, relaxed for a while, and became king of the rulers of kings. Rohini said, then Krishna went to Mathura, the capital of the Yadus. Rohini said, then Krishna went to Mathura, the capital of the Yadus. He killed many enemies, relaxed for a while, and became king of the rulers of kings. After completing his remaining tasks in other places, today or tomorrow, he will return to Vraja. That is answered in 2 verses 47 to 48. Krishna went to Mathura and recovered from the fatigue of fighting by enjoying there. Or it can mean that he went to live comfortably in Dwarka. Text 48. Nirjitopa Trita Shesha Nirjito Pakruta Shesha Devata Vrindavandita Aho Smarati Chittepi Natesham Bhavat Ishvara. Now honored by countless devatas whom he had sometimes defeated and sometimes helped, this Lord of yours no longer even thinks about the residents of Raja. Now honored by countless devatas whom he has sometimes defeated and helped, this Lord of yours no longer even thinks about the residents of Raja. He is worshipped by the unlimited hosts of devatas, whom he sometimes defeated as in taking the Parijata tree, and sometimes held by killing Naraka, etc. How indicates lamentation. He does not even remember the people of Raja, what to speak of going there. Text 49. Shri Parikshit Uvacha Tadvacho Sahamanaha Devi Krishnasya Vallabha Sada Krita Nivasasya Hridaye Bhishma Nandini. Parikshit said, Krishna's dear queen Rukmini, Bhishmaka's daughter, who always lived in Krishna's heart, found these words unbearable. And so she spoke up. Rukmini lives on the chest of Krishna. She knows in truth what is happening within his heart. Text 50. Shri Rukmini Vacha Bho Matar Navanitati Mruduswan Tasya Hi Avignya Yantaram Kinchit Katham Evam Tvayochate Yuyam Shrunata Vittani Tarhi Shrutani Me. Rukmini said, O Madha, you inner feelings of Krishna at all. His heart is softer than freshly churned butter. Why are you saying these things? Just hear from me what I have heard. Rukmini said, Oh mother, you don't understand the inner feelings of Krishna at all. His heart is softer than freshly churned butter. Why are you saying these things? Just hear from me what I have heard. His heart is softer than freshly churned butter. If you know, you will never speak about it. Text 51. Kim api brute ratrau swapan api namabhir madhuram pritya dhenur iva vayati kvachit utasaki ganan kamshid gopan ivatha manoharam Samabhinayate Vamshi Vaktram Tribhangi Parakritim. Sometimes at night he says this and that in his sleep. Sometimes in a most sweet voice he affectionately utters names as if calling his cows. Sometimes he calls his girlfriends or some of the coward boys. And sometimes while asleep he acts as if he were placing his flute on to his mouth and assumes his enchanting threefold bending form. And sometimes while asleep he acts as if he were placing his flute to his mouth and assumes his enchanting threefold bending form. She describes his internal condition in 4 verses, 51 to 54. He acts in this way even while sleeping. She describes his internal condition in 4 verses. He acts in this way even while sleeping, what to speak of his waking. He acts in this way even while sleeping, what to speak of his waking state. Sometimes he affectionately calls the cows by names such as Ganga, Yamuna, Davala, Kalindi. Uta indicates all. He acts in this way even while sleeping, what to speak of his waking state. Sometimes he affectionately calls the cows by names such as Ganga, Yamuna, Dhavala, Kalindi. Uta indicates all. He calls out to the cowards with affection by name. Sometimes he acts as if the flute were in his mouth or imitates the deity form Akritim with his feet, hands, and head slightly bent, Tribhangi. Krishna is the subject of all these statements. Sometimes he affectionately calls the cows by name, such as Ganga, Yamuna, Dhavala, Kalindi. Uta indicates all. He calls out to the cowards with affection by name. Sometimes he affectionately calls the cows by name, such as Ganga, Yamuna, Dhavala, Kalindi. Uta indicates all. He calls out to the cowards with affection by name. Sometimes he acts as if the flute were in his mouth or imitates the deity form with his feet, hands, and head slightly bent, Tribhangi. Krishna is the subject of all these statements. Text 52. Kadachin matar me vitara nava nitam tva iti vadet. Kadachit Shri Radhe Lalita iti sambodhayati mam. Kadapi dam chandravali kim iti me karshati patam. Kadapi asra sarer mrudulayati tulim shayanata. While asleep, he sometimes says, Mother, give me some fresh butter. Sometimes he calls out to me, O Radha or O Lalita. Sometimes he pulls my cloth and asks me, Chandravali, what are you doing? And sometimes he drenched the pillow on his bed with torrents of tears. While asleep, he sometimes says, Mother, give me some fresh butter. Sometimes he calls out to me, O Radha or O Lalita. Sometimes pulls my cloth and asks me, Chandravali, what are you doing? And sometimes he drenches the pillow on his bed with torrents of tears. He calls out to me, thinking of stealing my clothes. Why do you cheat me? Why are you acting like this? Saying this, he sometimes pulls my cloth. He sometimes moistens the pillow of the bed with torrents of tears. Text 53. Swapnad uttaya sadyotha rodit tata vayam yena nimajjamo dukkha shoka maharnave. Then at times suddenly waking up, he rises from bed and cries in a pitiful voice, drowning us in an ocean of pain and grief. Having described his activities during sleep, now Rukmini describes his actions during waking state in 2 verses. 53 to 54. After that, Atha, waking up, rising from sleep, he cries. All of his queens drown in an ocean of sorrow. She does not feel competition from the other queens having special bhakti for the Lord. Text 54. Adyapi drishtva kim api swapan nishi krandan shuchasau vimana skatatura Tvaambaram murdhani suptavatstito nityani krityani apinacharat bata. Just last night he must have seen something in a dream, because today he has been weeping sorrowfully and is beside himself with agitation. Now he's lying in bed as if asleep. Now he's lying in bed as if asleep, his cloth pulled over his head. He has not even performed his daily duties. What to speak of other days? Today this has happened. Seeing something in a dream, he cries in lamentation even in the day while awake. He speaks with lamentation. He covers his head with his yellow silk cloth. This is lamentation. He pretends to sleep. This is a sign of great lamentation. He pretends to sleep. Because of great mental anguish, he cannot sleep. Remaining in bed, Sthita, he does not perform his daily duties. Remaining in bed, Sthita, he does not perform his daily duties, or he remain there pretending to sleep. Text 55, Shri Parikshit Uvacha, Sa Sapatni Gana Shershyam, Satyabhamaha Bhamini, E Shri Rukmini Nidrayam Iti Kim Tvam Prajalpasi. Parikshit said that then temperamental Satyabhama, surrounded by other wives, spoke out of jealousy. Parikshit said then temperamental Satyabhama, surrounded by other wives, spoke out of jealousy. She said, Dear Rukmini, why are you prattling on like this? Why talk only about what he does while asleep? Satyabhama spoke out of jealousy. Why do you talk of what he does while sleeping? Text 56. Kim api kurvan jagradapi atma chitte saita iva vidhate tadrisham cha vayam iha namato vastutasyu pashupa yuvati dasyopi asmad asya priyasta. Even while active and awake, he seems to have his mind on something else, as if dreaming. Indeed, we are his wives in name only. His young coward maidservants are in fact dearer to him than we are. Even while active and awake, he seems to have his mind on something else, as if dreaming. Indeed, we are his wives in name only. His young coward maidservants are in fact dearer to him than we are. He seems to have his mind on something else, as if dreaming. Indeed, we are his wives in name only. His young coward maidservants are in fact dearer to him than we are. Even while active and awake, he seems to have his mind on something else, as if dreaming. Indeed, we are his wives young coward maidservants are in fact dearer to him than we are. What is he thinking? Even while awake, he acts as if he were asleep, calling the cows, etc., as you described. He does this repeatedly, tadrisham, tadrisham. Or the repetition indicates that waking and sleeping states are the same. Thus, we are his wives in name only. Or the repetition indicates that waking and sleeping states are the same. Thus, we are his wives in name only. Actually, even the menial servants of the young coward girls are dearer to Krishna than we are. Text 57, Shri Parikshit Uvacha, Ashaktastvachah Sodham Gokula Prana Bandhava Rohini Nandana Shriman Baladevo Rishabhra Praveet. Parikshit said, Baladeva, the darling son of Rohini, an intimate friend of all Gokula, couldn't tolerate hearing these words. He replied angrily, hearing the words of Rukmini and others, Balarama, most dear to the people of Gokula, who gave joy to Rohini by the words he would speak. Rohini Nandana spoke in anger, since he considered those words false, or since he could analyze the deception of Krishna. Text 58, Shri Baladev Uvacha Vadvasahaja Tatratya Dainya Varta Katha Paran Asman Vanchayanto Bratur Idam Kapata Padavam. All this is nothing but my brother's clever deception. We are intent on speaking about the natural miserable condition of the residents of Braja, misery all too real. We are intent on speaking about the natural miserable condition of the residents of Braja, misery all too real. Misery all too real, and he is simply cheating us. Oh ladies, Krishna's actions while sleeping are a skillful deception. He cheats us. All the actions are for deceiving us. We are intent on speaking about the natural miserable condition of the people of Raja. Though the information is true, what efforts will he not make by deception to give us enjoyment? By inferring his deception, understand the truth about my brother. He manifests this deception in order to satisfy us. He cannot fool us by skillful words in speaking naturally. Being skillful in actions, he acts in this way to fool us. Text 59. Tatra masa dvayam stitva tesham swastyam chikishata tanna shaktam maya kartum vagbhir acharita api. I stayed there in Vraja for 2 months and tried to restore the Vrajavasis to normality, but nothing I said or did was of any avail. I stayed there in Vraja for 2 months and tried to Vrajavasis to normality. I stayed there in Vraja for 2 months and tried to restore the Vrajavasis to normality, but nothing I said or did was of any avail. But nothing I said or did was of any avail. He illustrates what is said in 4 verses 59 to 62. Wanting to restore the people of Vraja to normal condition, I stayed there for 2 months. Wanting to restore the people of Vraja to normal condition, I stayed there for 2 months, but I could not normalize their condition by words or by actions. He spoke as follows: Krishna is suffering from separation from you. He sent me here quickly to pacify you. Destroying the enemies, he will come soon. He played in the Yamuna waters and built houses for Krishna's pastimes in various places. Text 60. Ananya sadhyam tad vikshya vividhai shapatai shatai tan yatnad ishad ashvasya tvarayatra gatam balad. Seeing no other way to achieve my purpose, I made hundreds of promises to them and with great effort finally pacified them to some extent. Then I managed to pull myself away and hurried back here. Achieve my purpose, I made hundreds of promises to them. Seeing no other way to achieve my purpose, I made hundreds of promises to them and with great effort finally pacified them to some extent. Seeing no other way to achieve my purpose, I made hundreds of promises to them and with great effort finally pacified them to some extent. Then I managed to pull myself away and hurried back here. Seeing no other way to achieve my purpose, I made hundreds of promises to them and with great effort finally pacified them to some extent. Then I managed to pull myself away and hurried back here. Seeing it was not possible to console them except by bringing Krishna, I said, Krishna will definitely come. I will go there and bring him here. By such words, I pacified the people of Vraja a little. Quickly, I came to Dwaraka by force, since they did not permit me to leave. Quickly, I came to Dwarka by force, since they did not permit me to leave. Text 61. Kataryad gaditam Krishna sakrit goshtam kaya pitat gatva prasanga sangatya rakshatatratya tatratya jivanam. I anxiously requested, oh Krishna, please find some excuse to go to your coward village, drowning in sorrow just once and save the lives of the people there. I anxiously requested, oh Krishna, please find some excuse to go to your coward village, drowning in sorrow just once and save the lives of the people there. Oh Krishna, please find some excuse to go to your coward village, drowning in sorrow just once and save the lives of the people there. Go once to that village, which is the place of your infant pastimes, or which is drowning in an ocean of sorrow by some means, such as an event or connected to some such, protect the lives of Nanda and others. Tatraya Jivanam. I said this because of the great grief which was previously described. Text 62. Gantasmiti mukhe brute tadrisham manasasya cha bhavasya bhavet sakshi prayojanam. With his mouth he said, certainly I shall go, but in his heart he thought otherwise. Indeed, the truth about a person's mind can be known from how he acts. His heart is not similar to his words, since actions reveal intentions in the mind. Since he will not go, his words and his heart Since he will not go, his words and his heart are different. This proves his deceptive nature. Since he will not go, his words and his heart are different. This proves his deceptive nature. Text 63, Shri Parikshit Uvacha Idam Akanya Bhagavan Uttaya Shayanadrutam Priya Prema Paradhino Rudhan Uchair Bahirgata. Parikshit said, hearing this, the Lord, who was controlled by the prema of his devotees, suddenly got up from his bed and came outside loudly weeping. Parikshit said, hearing this, the Lord, who is controlled by the prema of his devotees, suddenly got up from his bed and came outside loudly weeping. Hearing what Balaram had said, he went out of the room and went loudly and wept loudly. How was this possible for the Lord? He is controlled by the love of his devotees. That is the nature of Bhagavan. Text 64. Prafulla Padma Netrabhyam Varshan Ashruni Dharaya Sagat Gadam Jagadedam Paranugraha Katara. From his fully blossoming lotus eyes rained a flood of tears. With a choking voice, tormented by compassion for others, he spoke as follows. Helpless with the highest compassion, he spoke. Or he who is filled with compassion even for the enemy spoke. Thus he must act for his devotees. Helpless with the highest compassion, he spoke. Or he who is filled with compassion even for the enemy spoke. Thus he must act for his devotees. Or he who is filled with compassion even for the enemy spoke. Thus he must act for his devotees. Text 65. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Satyam Yeva Mahavaj Gatitam Mama Idam Hrudayam Adhyapi Dvidha Yanna Vidhyati. The Supreme Lord said, yes, it is true. My heart is a thunderbolt. It must be so because it does not, it's split into two. My heart does not split in two parts. Text 66. Balyad arabhyater yattat palanam vihitam chiram apyasadharanam prema sarvam tad vismritam maya. Those devotees took care of me for so long from the very beginning of my childhood, and still I have forgotten all about the exceptional prema. The cause for his heart splitting is explained in 2 verses 66 to 67. Protection indescribable or famous was given by the people of Raja. I forgot all their prema. The cause for his heart splitting is explained in 2 verses 66 to 67. Protection indescribable or famous was given by the people of Raja. I forgot all their prema. Protection indescribable or famous was given by the people of Raja. I forgot all their prema. Was given by the people of Raja. I forgot all their prema. Text 67. Astu tavadhitham tesham karyam kinchit kathanchana uta tyantam kritam dukkham krurena mrudulatmanam. Be that as it may, I must somehow do something to benefit them. I have indeed been cruel to have caused those gentle souls such extreme grief. Be that as it may, I must somehow do something to benefit them. I have indeed been cruel to have caused those gentle souls such extreme grief. Be that as it may, I must somehow do something to benefit them. I have indeed been cruel to have caused those gentle souls such extreme grief. Be that as it may, I must somehow do something to benefit them. I have indeed been cruel to have caused those gentle souls such extreme grief. By some means, by some little for their benefit. Let that be Tvad Astu. Rather, I have made the people of Raja having tender natures most unhappy because I am cruel. Text 68, Bhratar Uddhava Sarvagnya Preshta Shreshta Vadadrutam Karavani Kim Iti Asma Chokabder Mam Samudhara. O brother Uddhava, you are all knowing and you are the best of my dear friends. Please tell me at once what I should do. Please lift me from this ocean of distress. O brother Uddhava, you are all knowing and you are the best of my dear friends. Please tell me at once what I should do. Please lift me from this ocean of distress. Overcome with grief as if not knowing what to do, he asked Uddhava, O best of my friends, tell me what I should do. Deliver me from the ocean of distress caused by Vraja. Text 69. Shri Parikshit Uvacha Nanda Patni Priya Sakhi Devaki Putra Vatsala Ahedam Diyatam Yad Yad Ishyate Tai Suhrittamai. Parikshit said Devaki was affectionate to her son and was a dear friend to Nanda's wife. She said, you should give your best well-wishers whatever they desire. Parikshit said Devaki was affectionate to her son and was a dear friend to Nanda's wife. She said, you should give your best well-wishers whatever they desire. Parikshit said Devaki was affectionate to her son and was a dear friend to Nanda's wife. And was a dear friend to Nanda's wife. She said, you should give your best well-wishes whatever they desire. Worrying that Uddhava would say that Krishna should return to Raja and that she should be separated from her son, Devaki spoke before Uddhava could speak. Bring the dear friend of Yashoda Devaki. Being the dear friend of Yashoda, Devaki said, give them what they desire since she was affectionate to her son. Whatever is desired by the people of Raja, the best well-wishes should be given by you to them. Text 70 to 72. Tataha Padmavati Rajya Dana Bhita Vimudhadi Mahishi Yadu Rajasya Vruddha Mata Mahi Prabhu Api Yukta Shravanat Purvam Rama Matra Vahelita Swabhartu Rakshitum Rajyam Chaturyat Parihasavat Vyahara Paripatyanya Chittatapadane Natam Yadvam Shaika Sharanam Vidhatum Swastam Abravit. Then fearing that the kingdom was about to be given away, old Padmavati, the Lord's grandmother, the queen of the Yadu king Ugrasena, gathered her muddled wits and cleverly feigned a joking spirit. To protect her husband's kingdom, she spoke up again, even though Balarama's mother had snubbed her by ignoring her previous remarks. Invoking eloquence, Padmavati tried to change the mood to bring Krishna, the exclusive shelter of the Yadu dynasty, back to normal. Invoking eloquence, Padmavati tried to change the mood to bring Krishna, the exclusive shelter of the Yadu dynasty, back to normal. After that, or because of Devaki's words, Padmavati feared the kingdom would be given away. She spoke as if joking. 3 verses are connected. She was the queen of Ugrasena and therefore the Krishna's grandmother. Not hearing that Padmavati had previously said, not hearing what Padmavati had previously said, Rohini had offended her. She spoke skillfully and joking, but without intelligence, because she wanted to protect her husband's kingdom. Or what she spoke that appeared to be a joke was spoken with cleverness. What she spoke that appeared to be a joke was spoken with cleverness. It is unsuitable to speak in this way when Krishna is in great lamentation. She spoke to bring Krishna to a normal state by changing the mood, Anya Chittata. Why Krishna was the shelter of persons such as Ugrasena in the Yadu dynasty, Eka Sharanam. If Krishna was not well, the Yadus would perish. It is unsuitable to speak in this way when Krishna is in great lamentation. So she spoke to bring Krishna to a normal state. She spoke to bring Krishna to a normal state by changing the mood, Anya Chittata. Why Krishna was the shelter of persons such as Ugrasena in the Yadu dynasty, Eka Sharanam. If Krishna was not well, the Yadus would perish. She spoke to bring Krishna to a normal state by changing the mood, Anya Chittata. Why Krishna was the shelter of persons such as Ugrasena in the Yadu dynasty, Eka Sharanam. If Krishna was not well, the Yadus would perish. If Krishna was not well, the Yadus would perish. Text 37, text 73 to 75. Padmavat yuvacha tvayanu tapyate Krishna katam man mantritam shunu yad eka dashabhir varsher nanda gopasya mandire dvabhyam yuvabhyam bhratrubhyam upabhuktam vartate tatra dadyana dadyadva goraksha jeev सर्वं तद्गर्गहस्तेन गणयित्वा कनानुषा द्विगुणीकृत्य मद्भर्त्रा tasmai deyam shape swayam. Padmavati said, Krishna, why should you lament? Just listen to my advice. While living 11 years in the home of Nanda, you two brothers enjoyed various comforts. For what? I swear my husband will repay Nanda twice over. For that, I swear my husband will repay Nanda twice over. My husband will see to it that Gargamuni calculates the amount to the smallest fraction and delivers it by his own hand. And if Nanda owes you payment for tending his cows, let him pay you or not as he wishes. Why should you lament? You two enjoyed in Nanda's house for 11 years. My husband Ugrasena will give Nanda twice that amount. Let Nanda pay or not pay you two for attending the cows. If Nanda just accepts this payment for boarding you two, you and I do not have to insist on charging him for taking care of the cows. The amount to be calculated to the cent. This shows the generosity of her husband. Garga will calculate the amount. Being an astrologer, he could calculate without making mistakes. Nanda will receive the total amount due. Her hidden meaning was that Nanda would not. Referring to Nanda as a coward, she indicates that other than cow products, Nanda did not have any other items of enjoyment. The amount should be paid for the upkeep of the two brothers. However, no amount should be paid for Rohini, who also stayed in the Vraja with her maid servants, since Padmavati was angry with her for ignoring her words. Tato Nanda Vrajam Itaha Pitra Kamsa Vibibhyatha Ekadasha Samastatra Gudharchi Sabalo Vasat. His father, afraid of Kamsa, brought him to Vraja, and for 11 years he lived there with Balarama like a coward flame. Srimad Bhagavatam 3:26. His father, afraid of Kamsa, brought him to Vraja, and for 11 years he lived there with Balarama like a coward flame. Srimad Bhagavatam 3:26. He stayed for 11 years hidden. This does not mean that he stayed longer but not hidden. Akrura came to take him to Mathura when he was in his Kaishora period. Kaishorau Shyamala Shvetau Shri Niketau Brihadbhujau Sumukhau Sundarau Sundaravarau Baladvirada Vikramau. One of those two mighty armed youths, the shelters of the goddess of fortune, had a dark blue complexion and the others was white. With their fine fair featured faces, they were the most beautiful of all persons. They walked with the gait of young elephants, glancing about with compassionate smiles. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:38-29. When the young women of Mathura saw Krishna, he was of Kaishora age. Kva Vajrasara Sarvangao Mallau Shailendra Sannibhau Kvachati Sukumarango Kaishorau Napta Yavanau. What comparison can there be between these two professional wrestlers with limbs as strong as lightning bolts and bodies resembling mighty mountains, and these two young immature boys with exceedingly tender limbs? Srimad Bhagavatam 10:44-8. What comparison can there be between these two wrestlers with limbs as strong as lightning bolts and bodies resembling mighty mountains, and these two young immature boys with exceedingly tender limbs? Srimad Bhagavatam 10:44-8. Kaishara means 11 years old. After killing Kamsa, Krishna received his sacred thread. This is given at the age of 11 according to Kshatriya custom. The Lord says to Devaki and Vasudeva at the wrestling arena. Kaishara means 11 years old. After killing Kamsa, Krishna received his sacred thread. This is given at the age of 11 according to Kshatriya custom. The Lord says to Devaki and Vasudeva at the wrestling arena, Nasmatto yuvayos tata nityotkanpitayor api balya pauganda kaishora putra bhyam abhavan kvachit. Dear father, because of us, your two sons, you and mother Devaki always. Dear father, because of us, your two sons, you and mother Devaki always. Dear father, because of us, your two sons, you and mother Devaki, always remained in anxiety and could never enjoy our childhood, boyhood, or youth. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:45-3. The meaning is this: they did not have the happiness of the two boys during their childhood, boyhood, and youth. They did not have the happiness of their Kaishora pastimes. Since in Mathura he revealed pastimes with great power, the sweetness of his Vraja Kaishora pastimes were not manifested there. Vasudeva and Devaki could not experience that type of happiness. It is said that in Mathura he manifested Tarunya after Kaishara form and activities, but this actually means that he had special beauty. In an intense manner, even during Kaishara age, which was equivalent to his childhood period. It does not mean that he was older, since it's accepted that his age was actually Kaishara. Or Krishna went from Gokula to Mathura at the very end of his Kaishara period, when he was 15 years old. Since Bilva Mangala and others describe that he manifested Yavana in Vraja, since Bilva Mangala and others describe that he manifested Yavana in Vraja and manifested adult pastimes there. Though it's not impossible for Krishna to manifest adult qualities even in his Balya period, since he manifests great strength, his being 15 years old is widely accepted, since it's most attractive with manifestation of special rasa and a mature form. There should be no worry that this is incorrect, since because Krishna was naturally very tender, it appeared that he has just entered Kaishora period even at the end of the period. Since because Krishna was naturally very tender, it appeared that he has just entered Kaishora period, even at the end of that period. Thus, it is concluded that he lived in Braja for 15 years. For the first 4 years of his life, he drank his mother's breast milk. Subtracting that from 15 years, one is left with 11 years. He drank his mother's breast milk. Subtracting that from 15 years, one is left with 11 years, which is used to calculate how much of Nanda's milk he consumed and thus determines the amount of payment due to him by Ugrasena. Text 76. Shri Parikshit Uvacha Tacha Shri Bhagavan Kritva Shrutam Api Ashrutam Yatha Ajanan Iva Prapacha Shoka Vegad Adodhavam. Parikshit said, although the Lord must have heard these words, he pretended he had not. Driven by sorrow, he then inquired from Uddhava as though ignorant. Parikshit said, although the Lord must have heard these words, he pretended he had not. Driven by sorrow, he then inquired from Uddhava as though ignorant. Although the Lord must have heard these words, he pretended he had not. Driven by sorrow, he then inquired ignorant. Though he must have heard Padmavati's words, Tat Shrutam, with full attention, he seemed not to hear the words at all, since he did not acknowledge them. Though he knew what he should do and knew what the people of Raja desired, because of great lamentation, he appeared not to know. Thus, after his lamentation, he inquired from Uddhava. Though he must have heard Padmavati's words, Tat Shrutam, with full attention, he seemed not to hear the words at all, since he did not acknowledge them. Though he knew what he should do and knew what the people of Raja desired, because of great lamentation, he appeared not to know. Thus, after his lamentation, he inquired from Uddhava. Text 77. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bho Vidvadvara Tatratya Khilabhi Praya Vidbhavan Tesham Abhishtam Kim Tanme Katyatva Avilambitam. The Supreme Lord said, O best of learned scholars, you know all the thoughts of the residents of Raja. Please tell them without delay what they desire. The Supreme Lord said, O best of learned scholars, you know all the thoughts of the residents of Raja. You know all the thoughts of the residents of Raja. Please tell me without delay what they desire. Who know the mentality of the people of Raja, please tell what they desire. Devaki has said that they should be given what they desired. Though he knows that their desires will not be fulfilled by giving anything, and that only is going to Raja will satisfy them, he asks the question with the motive that if the best of advisors says that he must go using logical, he asked the question with the motive that if the best of advisors say that he must go using logical words, no one present could prevent him. Thus he asked the question. Previously he was motivated by his lamentation. Text 78. Shri Parikshit Uvacha Tachrutva Bhagavad Bhakyam Uddhavo Hridi Dukhita Kshanam Nishvasya Vismera Sanu Tapam Jagadatam. Parikshit said, having heard these words from the Lord, the despondent Uddhava was taken aback. He sighed briefly and then answered full of remorse. Parikshit said, having heard these words from the Lord, the despondent Uddhava was taken aback. He sighed briefly and then answered full of remorse. Parikshit said, having heard these words from the Lord, the despondent Uddhava was taken aback. Having heard these words from the Lord, the despondent Uddhava was taken aback. He sighed briefly and then answered full of remorse. Prema did not understand the purport of the Lord's words. Hearing the words literally, he became despondent. Hearing the words of such a Lord who is omniscient or a lion of mercy, he felt sad. in his heart because he thought Krishna was cheating again. He was surprised because he thought that acting in this way, giving the dear devotees of Raja some gift was not proper. Sighing loudly for a moment, he spoke to the Lord in a remorseful way, or he spoke something which was filled with remorse. Text 79, Srimad Uddhava Uvacha, Na Raja Rajeshwaratha विभूतेर न दिव्य वस्तूनि च ते भवत्ता न कामयन्ते न्यद् अपीह किञ्चित् अमुत्र च प्राप्यं ऋते भवन्तं. Buddha said, the people of Braja don't want from you the power and wealth of emperors, nor the enjoyments found in heaven, nor anything else obtainable in this world or the next. They do not desire anything except you. The people like Nanda do not desire wealth or power as rulers of kings or heavenly objects like the Parijata or anything attainable in this world or the next from you. They do not desire anything except you. They desire the Lord only. The people like Nanda do not desire wealth or power as rulers of kings or heavenly objects like the Parijata. Or heavenly objects like the Parijata or anything attainable in this world or the next from you. They do not desire anything except you. They desire the Lord only. Text 80, Avadhana prasadotra kriyatam gyapayami yat pashad vicharya kartavyam swayam eva yatochitam. Kindly favor me with your attention. Think over what I'm about to say. Kindly favor me with your attention. Think over what I'm about to say. Kindly favor me with your attention. Think over what I'm about to say. Think over what I'm about to say and then act as if see fit. As Uddhava speaks to so that Krishna will understand what he will describe. What I'll tell you, you should be mercifully heard by you with attention. Avadhana prasada, you should do what I will reveal to you. Swayam. Text 81. Purvam nandasya sangatya bhavata preshitani te bhushanadini drishtochur mito magnas shuk ambudau. Previously, when the cowards met Nanda and saw the jewels and other gifts you had sent with him, they spoke among themselves, all of them immersed in an ocean of grief. And saw the jewels and other gifts you had sent with him. They spoke among themselves, all of them immersed in an ocean of grief. Previously, after Kamsa was killed, the people of Raja, Yashoda, Radha, and others, seeing the ornaments sent by you, spoke among themselves, drowning in an ocean of grief. The feminine gender is not used since the subject of the gopis is secret. Text 82. Aho bada mahatkashram vayam etad abhipsava etad prasada yogyascha gyata krishnena samprati. Oh, how very painful. Krishna now thinks we want such presents from him and deserve this kind of mercy. This statement is described in 2 verses 82 to 83. Now Samprati, he thinks that we desire these ornaments and that this giving of mercy is suitable for him. Otherwise, he would not have sent them. Previously, he did not think like this, but now he does. How unfortunate for us. Samprati can also be connected to the next verse, text 83. Tad asmat तिष्ठेत कंठे दुनापि यत् नंद गोपांश दिग्धिगे tam त्यक्त्वैतानि upanayam. Damn our lives and the breath that still moves in our throats. And damn Nanda and the coward men. They left Krishna and brought these ornaments. Therefore, our lives are most despicable, since our lives are now in our throats. The people of Raja live only by the air passing through their throats. The people of Raja live only by the air passing through their throats. The cowards of Nanda are most despicable since they left Krishna. The cowards of Nanda are most despicable since they left Krishna and brought these ornaments. This indicates that Nanda himself could not give up Krishna, but the cowards could. or the plural is used out of respect to indicate Nanda, or Nanda and the other cowards are despiteful since they left Krishna and bought ornaments. Text 84, Tatastvad Gamanasham cha Gamanashamcha hitva saha yashodaya mritapraya bhavan matra rebhire nashanam mahat. Thus the residents of Raja, including your mother Yashoda, have given up all hope of your return. Already dead, they now refuse to eat at all. Thus the residents of Raja, including your mother Yashoda, have given up all hope of your return. Already dead, they now refuse to eat at all. Thus the residents of Raja, including your mother Yashoda, have given up all hope of your return. Already dead, they now refuse to eat at all. Because of what was described, giving up hope that you will come to Raja, they are almost dead. Along with your mother, they're fasting till. Because of what was described, giving up hope that you will come to Raja, they are almost dead. Along with your mother, they are fasting till death by giving up water, etc. Thus, they do not desire the things you send, they desire only you. Text 85 to 86. Krita paradha vannando vaktum kinchid dinatrayam ashakto tyanta shokarto vraja pranan avangatan bhavatas tatrayanoktim grahayan shapato karai Dashayan Yukti Chaturyam Amun Evam Asan Twayat. Nanda felt like someone who has committed a great offense, and for 3 days he was so utterly miserable he couldn't say a thing. Nanda felt like someone who has committed a great offense, and for 3 days he was utterly miserable and he couldn't say a thing. But then, to save the lives of the people of Rajat, he induced them to believe your departing words. With many ardent promises, Nanda used logic to prove your words true. In this way, he placated the Vrajavasis. In 2 verses, Uddhava pacifies Krishna by indicating that nothing unfortunate, untimely happened at that time. Nanda did not speak for 3 days, feeling as if he had committed some offense. To protect the lives of the people of Raja, which had left their bodies, Gatan Pranan, with plenty of oaths, he made them accept your words that you would return to Raja. Yata yuyam Vrajam tata vayam cha sneha dukhitan gyatinvo drashtum yeshyamo vidhaya suhridam sukham. Now you should all return to Raja, dear father. We shall come to see you, our dear relatives who suffer in separation from us, as soon as we have given some happiness to your well-wishing friends. Srimad Bhagavatam 3. Now you should all return to Raja, dear father. We shall come to see you, our dear relatives who suffer in separation from us. As soon as we have given some happiness to your well-wishing friends. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:45-23. In this way, he pacified them, though overcome with lamentation because of separation from Krishna and because the people desired to die. He showed his great skill in logic, or he revealed to them the best reasons for living. Text 87. Srinanda Uvacha Dravyani Adau Prema Chihnani Putra Etani Atra Prahinot Satyavakya Shigram Pashad Agamishyati Avashyam Tatratyam Swa Prastutartham Samapya. Nanda said, our son is an honest person who always speaks the truth. He has first sent us these things as a sign of prema. He's sure to come back to us quickly as soon as he finishes what he has to do in Mathura. Nanda said, our son is an honest person who always speaks the truth. He has first sent us these things as a sign of prema. Who always speaks the truth. Ananda said, our son is an honest person, always speaks the truth. He has first sent us these things as a sign of prema. He's sure to come back to us quickly. As soon as he finishes what he has to do in Mathura, the gifts are signs of his love. He sent them with prema, not as his mercy. Thinking that is what you wanted. He's our son. By this, he emphasizes the affectionate relationship or rejects the idea that Krishna is attached to his relationship with Vasudeva. Later, he quickly later he will quickly return, since he tells the truth. Why does he not come now? When will he come? He will finish matters of the moment concerning his devotees related to Mathura and not other places, such as eliminating Jarasandha. Text 88. Shrutva te tatra vishvasya sarve saralamānasa bhavat pritim samalochya lankaran dadut atmasu. Hearing these words, the simple-hearted residents of Raja believed them. Thinking about your loving affection, they accepted the ornaments and put it on their bodies. They had faith in Krishna's words, tatra vishvasya, because their minds were devoid of crookedness, saralamanasa. They all according to their hearts. They all thought Krishna will be pleased if we wear the ornaments. They placed the ornaments on their bodies, but they did not experience happiness in their hearts. Text 89. Shri Krishnotra Samagatya Prasada Dravya Sangrahat Vikshagnya Palakan Asman Nitaram Kripayishyati. They thought when Krishna returns, he will see how we have followed his order by accepting these remnants of his enjoyment. Then he will show a special mercy. Their intention is described by accepting their ornaments is mercy. He will see that we followed his order and will thus show more mercy than previously. They felt joy in their actions by following his order, though the circumstances were most lamentable. Though they felt joy in their actions by following his order, though the circumstances were most lamentable. By following his order, though the circumstances were most lamentable. Text 90. Bhavan swayam agatva tu yam sandesham samarpya mam prahino tena te sarve babhuvur nihata. Never came, you sent me instead. And when they heard the message you had sent with me, they almost died from disappointment. They acted in one way, but you acted another way. You sent a message saying that you were the Antaryami everywhere and that they should see you everywhere through a vision of Jnana. Bhavatinam viyogo me nahi sarvata sarvatmana kvachit yatha bhutani bhuteshu kham vai vagnirjalam mahi tathaham cha mana prana bhutendriya gunashraya. You are never actually separated from me, for I am the soul of all creation, just as the elements of nature, either air, fire, water, and earth, are present in every created thing. So I am present within everyone's mind, life, air, and senses, and also within the physical elements and the modes of material nature. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-29. The meaning is this: you are not separate from me. Why? I am situated in all effects, such as the mind, since I am the cause of all elements, Sarvatmana. why I am situated in all effects such as the mind, since I am the cause of all elements, Sarvatmana. An example is given. The elements Bhutani such as either air, fire, water and earth are present in all moving and non-moving beings. Similarly, I am present as a shelter of all causes and effects, mind, life, air, senses. By that message, they almost died since they destroyed their hope that you would return. By that message, they almost died since that destroyed their hope that you would return. They were as if dead since their life was all that remained in their bodies. Text 91. Tata drishtya maya tatra bhavato gamanam dhruvam pratignaya prayatnatan jiva itva samagatam. Seeing them so despondent, I made every effort to keep them alive by promising that you would certainly return. Then I returned here. Seeing them so despondent, I made every effort to keep them alive by promising that you would certainly return. Then I returned here. Seeing them so despondent, I made every effort to keep them alive by promising that you I returned home, experiencing directly their condition, tatha drishtya, promising that you would certainly come to Vraja, promising that I would bring you, I returned here. Text 92, Tvat praptayeta sanyasta samasta vishayashraya prapuryadrug avastam te tam prachaitam nijagrajam. To attain you, these devotees then renounced enjoyment of all objects. Please ask your elder brother here what state they are in. To attain you, these devotees then renounced enjoyment of all objects. To attain you, these devotees then renounced enjoyment of all objects. Please ask your elder brother here what state they are in. However, you did not go personally, you sent your elder brother. It's not possible for me to describe what state they were in. It would produce a most sorrowful state in me. With this intention, Uddhava speaks, after I came here, they rejected enjoyment of all objects. Vishayashraya, or they gave up the shelters or houses, ashraya, and all sense enjoyment, Vishaya. They lived in the forest gazing at the places of Krishna's pastimes. When Balarama went to Vraja, there is the following description. Krishne Kamala Patrakshe Sanyas Sadasa. They gave up all wealth for lotus like Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam 1065:6. This means that they gave up everything to attain Krishna. When Uddhava had gone to Vraja, he did not see Radha and other gopis in this state of renunciation. When Uddhava had gone to Vraja, he did not see Radha and other gopis in this state of renunciation. He saw them apparently happy wearing the ornaments sent by Krishna since their faith in the consoling words of Nanda. Deepa Deepter Manibir Vireju Rajur Vikarshad Bhuja Kankana Sraja Sraja Chalan Nitambastana Hara Kundala Twishat Kapola Runa Kunkumanana. As they pulled on the churning ropes with their bangle arms, the women of Raja shone with the splendor of their jewels, which reflected the lamp's light. Their hips, breasts, as they pulled on the churning ropes with their bangled arms, the women of Raja shone with the splendor of their jewels, which reflected the lamp's light. Their hips, breasts, and necklaces moved about, and their faces, anointed with reddish kunkuma, glowed radiantly with the luster of their earrings, reflecting from their cheeks. Udgayatinam Aravinda Lochanam Brajang Gananam Divam Asprishad Dvani Dadnascha Nirmantana Shabda Mishrito Nirasyate Ena Disham Amangalam. As the ladies of Raja loudly sang the glories of lotus-eyed Krishna, their songs blended with the sound of their churning. As the ladies of Raja loudly sang the glories of lotus-eyed Krishna, their songs blended with the sound of their churning. ascended to the sky and dissipated all inauspiciousness in every direction. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:46, 45 to 46. It would be impossible for them to be in this condition if they were overcome with grief. It would be impossible for them to be in this condition if they were overcome with grief. Now, because Uddhava had destroyed their hopes by delivering Krishna's message, they attained by delivering Krishna's message, they attained a more miserable state than previously. Uddhava asks about their state in the presence of his elder brother since Balarama had gone there and directly experienced their condition. Or you may not believe my words, but you should believe the words of your elder brother. Text 93 to 94. Shri Parikshit Uvacha Tad Vichedam Shankaya mlapitani sa Devaki Bhishmajadinam Mukhani avanatani adha Sharad asrani sa sneham Vilokya mrudulasshaya Masikarpara patrani Vyagro Yachata Samnaya. Parikshit continued, anticipating suffering of separation from Krishna. The faces of the ladies like Devaki and Rukmini were pale, downcast, and full of tears. Looking at those women affectionately, gentle-hearted Krishna quickly gestured for an inkpot and paper. Parikshit continued, anticipating suffering of separation from Krishna. The faces of the ladies like Devaki and Rukmini were pale, downcast, and full of tears. Looking at those women affectionately, gentle-hearted Krishna quickly gestured for an inkpot and paper. What did the Lord dear to the coward people do next? That's described in 4 verses, 93 to 96. Looking at the faces of Devaki and others with affection, by a gesture he asked for ink and paper. The 2 verses are connected. Their faces had wilted because they feared separation from Krishna if we went to Vraja. Their faces had wilted because they feared separation from Krishna if we went to Vraja. Their faces were bowed down and were flowing with tears. Their faces were bowed down and were flowing with tears. He used a signal for the request because he was in a state of agitation. Vyagra, because of the extreme disturbance when he heard Uddhava's words, he was unable to request using words. He could only signal his request. Because of the extreme disturbance when he heard Uddhava's words, he was unable to request using words. He could only signal his request. Why did he not immediately go to Vraja? He had a very tender heart. He could not suddenly give up Devaki and others who were wretched and personally present because he could not tolerate their anguish. Text 95 to 96. Prastutartham samadhaya trityan ashvasya bandhavan yeshoham agata praya iti janita matpriya evam ashvasanam prema patram preshayitum vraje. Swahaste naiva likitam tacha gadha pratitaye. In order to strengthen the faith of the Vraja devotees, Krishna wanted to send them a letter filled with loving sentiments and written by his own hand. My dear residents of Vraja, please know that as soon as I settle the duties before me and satisfy my relatives here, I will return in no time. I will be there. Why did he request the ink and paper? 2 verses explain. He requested the ink and paper in order to send a love letter to Vraja, written by his own hand, in order to strengthen their faith. What should the letter say? My dear residents of Vraja, this indicates his great affection. As soon as I have concluded necessary duties which have arisen, and having consoled the Yadus living in Dwaraka, having faith that I will come, have faith that I will come. And having consoled the Yadus living in Dwaraka, have faith that I will come. The letter should console them in this manner, or in the manner stated, he would console them. Text 97. Tasye hitam abhipretya praptotyantartim uddhava vraja vasi mano bhigno Bravit Shapatam Rudan. Uddhava understood what Krishna was about to do and was therefore greatly distressed. Knowing the inner hearts of the Vrajavasis, Krishna to reconsider his plans. Uddhava understood what Krishna was about to do and was therefore greatly distressed. Knowing the inner hearts of the Vrajvasis, he cried and begged Krishna to reconsider his plans. Understanding his intention to just send a letter, Uddhava became filled with pain. Crying, he spoke with some scolding, Sashapatam. Text 98. Srimad Uddhava Uvacha Prabhosu Nirnitam Idam Pratihi Tvadiya Padabja Yugasya Tatra Shubha Prayanam Na Vinasya Jivet Vraja Kathanchin Nacha Kinchit Ichet. Uddhava said, "Oh Master, please turn your attention to this. Unless your two lotus feet make an auspicious journey to Vraja, there's no way to assure that your people of Vraja will survive. Those people want nothing but your lotus feet. Without the auspicious journey to Vraja of your sweet, attractive lotus feet, the people of Vraja will not live by any other means. They do not desire a letter sending messages of prema. Understand that I have discerned this. All other forms such as Antaryami are rejected by his statement." Text 99. Shri Parikshit Uvacha Kumati Kamsam Mataha Sahasam Dunvati Shira Ham Devaki Nirbuddhe Buddham Maya Dhuna. Parikshit said, the befuddled Padmavati laughed at this, shook her head and burst out, "Ah ha ha ha, foolish Devaki, now I understand everything." Padmavati laughed in order to make Uddhava's words appear insignificant. Padmavati laughed in order to make Uddhava's words appear insignificant. She laughed while shaking her head. Hum indicates a deep thinking or a great pain, or foolish Devaki. Buddham is repeated to enforce the meaning. I understand very well. Text 100. Chiram go rasadanena yantritasyoddhavasyate sahayatvat sutam gopa naya hitva punarvane. With the help of Uddhava, whom the cowards are brought under control by gifts of milk goats, those cowards want to bring Krishna back to the forest. She speaks two verses. The cowards headed by Nanda, bringing your son Krishna back to the forest, desire him to herd the cows. Uddhava stayed for a long time in Vraja. Uvasakati chinmasan gopinam vinudanshucha Krishna Leela katham gayan ramayam asa gokulam. Uddhava remained there for several months, dispelling the gopis' sorrow by chanting the topics of Krishna's pastimes. Uddhava remained there for several months, dispelling the gopis' sorrow by chanting the topics of Krishna's pastimes. Thus he brought joy to all the people of Gokula. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:47-54. Uddhava is controlled by their giving him buttermilk and other milk products. Uddhava is controlled by their giving him buttermilk and other milk products. Text 101. Bhishane durgame dushta satve jushte sakantake. Samrakshayitum ichanti dhurta pashu ganan nijan. In that dangerous forest, hard to travel, full of thorns and vicious beasts, those frauds want to make him tend their cows. Why do they have to bring Krishna? Can they not herd the cows themselves? They fear tigers and other creatures in the forest. Wicked animals like tigers and lions live. They want to bring Krishna because they are crafty dhurta. They want to protect their own sons and send someone else's son to the forest. Text 102. Shri Parikshit Uvacha Tachrutva Kutsitam Vakyam Ashakta Kshodhum Anjasa Yashodaya Priyasaki Rama Mataha Kopita. Parikshit said, Balarama's mother Rohini, Yashoda's dear friend, couldn't tolerate hearing these insults. Angrily, she replied, Rohini could not tolerate the wild words of Padmavati. Padmavati had spoken in this way because of a particular type of intense prema. Angered, Rohini said, oh, she spoke, making Padmavati angry. Oh, she spoke, making Padmavati angry. Text 103. Shri Rohini Uvacha, ah, Kamsa Mata Kim Ayam. Go Rakshayam Niyujyate Ksanamatram cha tatrayer Adrishtesminna Jivyate. Rohini said, indeed, O mother of Kamsa, will they caring for cows? Unless the devotees they see him, they can't stay alive a single moment. Rohini said, indeed, O mother of Kamsa, will they just engage him in caring for cows? Unless the devotees they see him, they can't stay alive a single moment. Will they just engage him in caring for cows? Unless the devotees they see him, they can't stay alive a single moment. Indeed, O mother of Kamsa, will they just engage him in caring for cows? Unless the devotees they see him, they can't stay alive for alive a single moment. Expresses her anger. O mother of Kamsa, she hints at Padmavati that Padmavati has a wicked mind like Kamsa. Will Krishna be engaged in herding cows only by the people of Raja? Tatratyai. Will Krishna be engaged in herding cows only by the people of Raja? No, they cannot live for a moment not seeing Krishna. Text 104. Vrikshadibis kadachit asmin sati syat sahacharinam vrisham Shri Krishna Krishneti Mahaplutaswarer Ahvana Bangya Kulata Sarodana. O chaste woman, if trees or other obstacles block Krishna from sight, even briefly, his companions at once shed tears and call in anxious, loud voices, Krishna, Krishna. This is further explained in two verses, 104 to 105. O chaste woman Sati, this addresses in anger as the opposite. This address in anger as opposite meaning, since her chastity was broken by association with the demon Drumila. This address in anger as the opposite meaning, since her chastity was broken by association with the demon Drumila. Sometimes when looking at the beauty of the Vrindavana forest, when the view of Krishna becomes blocked by trees, his companions like Sridama become disturbed with crying, with gestures indicating that they do not know where he is, and with loud voices, Mahapluta Swarai. Text 105. Vrajastitanam tvahar eva kala ratrir bhaved ekallavo yugam cha ravim rajo vartma cha pashyatam muhur dasha cha kachin muralim cha shrinvatam. For those who live in Braja, daytime is like the dark night of Pralaya and the Yuga. And the blink of an eye is a yuga. In such a state, they look at the sun and the trails of dust on the road again and again and listen for the sound of the flute. In such a state, they look at the sun and trails of the dust on the road again and again and listen for the sound of the flute. For the people living in Braja, such as Radha, even the day is like the night of Pralaya, Kala Ratri. One moment is like 4 yugas. Short time seems like a long time. Causes of previous happiness become causes of suffering. Athati yad bhavan ahni kananam truti yugayate tvam apashyatam kutila kuntalam shrimukham chate jada udikshatam pakshma kridrisham. When you go off to the forest during the day, a tiny fraction of a second becomes like a millennium for us because we cannot see you. And even when we can eagerly look upon your beautiful face, so lovely, because we cannot see you, and even when we can eagerly look upon your beautiful face, so lovely with its adornment of curly locks, we think the creator was foolish in making eyelids. Shrimad Bhagavatam 10:31-15. They look at the sun in order to know when Krishna is coming. Constantly they go outside the house and look at the path of dust raised by the cows. This is a sign that Krishna is coming. They listen to the sound of his flute in the afternoon. They attain a state of madness because of most intense prema, dasha, the desire that he, instead of their sons, just go to the forest. Just go to the forest and herd cows does not occur to any of them, though this is Padmavati's accusation. Though this is Padmavati's accusation. Text 106. Though this is Padmavati's accusation, text 106. I am hitatad vipineshu kautuka vihartu kama pashu sangha sangata vayasya vargai sah sarvatotitum prayati nityam swayam agrajanvita. Every day Krishna takes his older brother with him and goes out into the various forests, eager to enjoy with his herds of cows and wander about in the company of his many friends. Every day Krishna takes his older brother with him and goes out into the various forests, eager to enjoy with his herds of cows and wander about in the company of his many friends. Then how did he herd the cows there? This is explained in 5 verses, 106 to 110. Desiring to play in the most indescribable forest of Vrindavana, he would go out daily with his friends to wander about everywhere. Since in herding the cows, he would walk far away. He did this along with Balarama. Along with Balaram with great enthusiasm or with great wonder on seeing the forest. Kautukat. Text 107. Yatrati mattambu vihanga mala kuli kritali avali vibramena vichalitanam kamalotpalanam saramsi gandher vilasajjalani. In those forests are lakes with sparkling water where kamala and utpala lotuses spread their fragrance. In those forests are lakes with sparkling water where Kamala and Utpala lotuses spread their fragrance. The lotuses tremble from the movements of swarms of agitated bees and flocks of excited water birds because they took joy in the forest. The forests are described in 4 verses, 107 to 110. In the forest, there are lakes whose waters sport with the fragrance of kamalas and utpalas, which are moved about by the flocks of excited water birds like cranes and chakravakas and swarms of agitated bees. Text 108. Tata Mahasharya Vichitrata Mai Kalinda Jasa Vrajabhumi Sangini Tata Vidha Vindhya Nagadi Sambhava Parasha Nadyo Vilasanti Yatracha. And in those forests flows the river Yamuna, the dearmost companion of the land of Vraja. The picturesque splendor of that river, the daughter of Kalinda, the picturesque splendor of that river, the daughter of Kalinda, astonishes the mind. And beside her, Rajabhumi glistens with other rivers of hills like the Vindhyas. In this manner, or with all that has been said, Yamuna exists in the forest or plays in the forest. The number changes, however, from singular to plural. She causes astonishment with the great variety of her banks and other features. She's most indescribably beautiful because she's related to the land of Raja. In the forests, other rivers like Manasa, Ganga play or radiate beauty, similar to the Yamuna Tata Vidha. Text 109. Tat tat tatam komala valukachitam ramyam sada nutana shadvalavrutam swabhavika dvesha visarjano lasan manogna nana mriga pakshish sankulam. The beautiful shores of those rivers are always heaped with soft sand and covered by newly grown grass. To those shores come many different kinds of charming animals and birds, putting their natural enmity aside. The beautiful shores of those heaped with soft sand and covered by newly grown grass. To those shores come many different kinds of charming animals and birds, putting their natural enmity aside. In the forest, there exist the most indescribable shores, or the shores of the lakes and rivers, or the shores are pleasant, not terrifying. The shores are endowed with soft sand, thus or the shores are pleasant, not terrifying. The shores are endowed with soft sand, thus they are not inaccessible, with thorns, not terrifying. As described by Padmavati, the word sada always can be applied to all the descriptive elements of the banks. The banks are always covered with green grass, thus there's no suffering in herding the cows. The shores are covered with various attractive birds and animals which play with each other or are glorious to the highest degree because they give up natural enmity such as mongoose and snake. Or deer and tiger. This rejects Padmavati's claim that the forest is filled with wicked beasts. This description shows how the place causes happiness in Krishna's playing. Text 110. Pallavavali. Bharanamrutalatatarugulmai Bhushitam Madakalapi Kokila Shreni Naditam Ajastuti Patram. Trees, creepers, and shrubs further decorate the shores, bowing down with the weight of splendid flowers, fruits, and buds. The shores resound with the calls of maddened peacocks and cuckoos, and those shores receive praise even from Lord Brahma. Trees, creepers, and shrubs further decorate the shores, bowing down with the weight of splendid flowers, fruits, and buds. The shores resound with the calls of maddened peacocks and cuckoos, and those shores receive praise even from Lord Brahma. The shores are decorated with trees, creepers, and shrubs, bowing down with loads of clusters of flowers, fruits, and buds, and resounding with flocks of intoxicated peacocks and cuckoos. The shores are the object of praise of even Brahma. Tad bhuri bhagyam iha janma kim api athavyam yad gokulepi katamangri rajo Bishekam Yajjivitam tu Nikhilam Bhagavan Mukundas Twa Adhyapi Yat Padaraja Shruti Mrigyam Eva. My great fortune would be to take any birth, whatever, in this forest of Gokula and have my head bathed by the dust falling from the lotus feet of any of its residents. The entire life and soul is the Lord Mukunda, the dust of whose lotus feet is sought even today by the Upanishads. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-34, text 111. Vrindaranye vraja bhuvi gavam tatra govardhaneva naste himsa harana rahite raksha kasyapi apeksha. Gavo gatvoshasi vipinatasta mahishadi yukta swairam bhuktva sajala yavasam sayam ayanti vasam. Vrindavana forest, Govardhana hill, and the whole area of Vraja are free from violence and theft. Vrindavana forest, Govardhana hill, and the whole area of Vraja are free from violence and theft. So no one need to bother to watch one's cows. So one need not bother to watch one's cows. The cows simply go out into the forest in the morning with the buffaloes and other domestic animals, eat grass and drink water as they like, and then in the evening come home. There's no suffering for Krishna caused by his herding the cows. In Vrindavana and in Nandishwara and other places, Raja Bhumi, or in Vrindavana and Raja and at Govardhana, one does not need to worry about protecting the cows. Why? There's absence of theft and violence from tigers, etc. How do the unintelligent animals maintain their lives then? Those cows of Raja, or the indescribable cows going to the forest in the early morning, those cows of Raja, or the indescribable cows going to the forest in the early morning, eat juicy grass or grass with water freely at their will, and in the evening go home to Raja from the forest. Goats also go along with the cows and buffaloes. Aja gavo maishasya nirvishanto vanad vanam ikshi Katavim Nirvivishu Krandantyo Darshita. Passing from one part of the great forest to another, the goats, cows, and buffalo eventually entered an area overgrown with sharp canes. Thirsty because of the heat of the summer sun, cried out in distress. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:19-2. Text. Text 112. Vriddho vacha are baleti vachale tat katam te gavadaya adhuna rakshaka bhavan nashta iti nishamyate. Elderly Padmavati said, you child, you are too free with your words. If what you say is true, then why do we hear that the cows and other animals in Braja are now in danger of dying because no one is taking care of them? Why have the cows been destroyed without Krishna taking care of them? Since he's not there, it's not a lie. This is heard everywhere. You said the cows do not need a herder to protect them. That's incorrect. Therefore, you are ignorant and too talkative. Text 113. Shri Parikshit Uvacha Srimad Gopala Devasta Shrutva Sambranti Yantrita Jatantastapata Shushyan Mukhabja Shankaya Kula. Parikshit said, having heard all this, the Lord Gopala felt overweight with worry for his devotee. Scorching anxiety dried up his lotus face. He was filled with dread. Parikshit said, having heard all this, the Lord Gopala felt overwrought with worry for his devotees. Scorching anxiety dried up his lotus face. He was filled with dread. Having heard all this, the Lord Gopala felt overwrought with worry for his devotees. Scorching anxiety dried up his lotus face. He was filled with dread. Text 114. Pratama Parakalina Vraja Vrittanta Vedina Mukham Alokayam Asa Baladevasya Sashrukam. He glanced at the face of Baladeva, who knew all the tidings of Raja, both past and present, and saw that it was covered with tears. He glanced at the face of Baladeva, who knew all the tidings of Raja, both past and present, and saw that it was covered with tears. Hearing the words of the old woman Padmavati and pained by agitation, he gazed at the face of Balarama. Two verses 114 to 115 are connected. The reason is given: Balarama should know the condition of Raja in the past and present since coming to Mathura. Krishna's lotus face was dried up because of inner torment, since he feared the dear devotees of Raja would die. He glanced at Balarama's cheerful face, or he glanced cheerfully at his face. 15. Rohini Nandano Bratur Bhavam Buddhva Smaran Brajam Swadhairya Rakshana Shakta Prarudan Abravit Sputam. Baladeva, the son of Rohini, was unable to keep his composure. Remembering Braja and understanding his brother's intention, he began crying without control. But then he managed to speak distinctly, understanding the intention of his brother. By that, remembering Braja, he was unable to control himself. He cried loudly, with an attractive voice and spoke clearly. Text 116. Shri Baladev Uvacha Gavam Keva Katha Krishna Te Tepi Bhavata Priya Mriga Vihanga Bandhira Kadamba Dhyascha Padapa. Baladeva said, why speak only about the cows, dear Krishna? All the animals in Braja are your beloved friends, and so also the birds and the trees like the Bandhira and the Kadamba. Why speak only of the cows and buffaloes, etc.? Cows are mentioned because they are the chief of the village animals. When all the animals in the forest die, it's astonishing if the cows who take you as their very life because you care for them die. The statement is Kaimutya. Animals like Krishna are dear, and birds like peacocks are your dear friends. The text 117. Latani kunja punjani sadvalani api jivanam bhavati evar payam asu kshinasha saritodraya. The grass, the creepers, the lush bushes have all dedicated their lives to you. Now they are all withering away, and so too are the rivers and mountains. Rivers like the Yamuna and mountains like Govardhana have become thin. Rivers like the Yamuna and mountains like Govardhana have become thin. Text 118. Manasya katichit brata paramte satyavakyata jata shayaiva jivanti necha shrutum ataparam. Some of the people, dear brother, live only on the hope that your promises were true. Better you not ask to hear more news than this. Some of the people, dear brother, live only on the hope that your promises were true. Better you not ask to hear more news than this. That is the situation with the plants and animals. Some people live. This means that many have died. At the time of leaving Gokula for Mathura, you said, I will return. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:41-17. To Nanda, you said, I will return. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:41-17. To Nanda, you said, I'll come to see my relatives. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:45-23. Only by the hope arising from those promises do they live. To hear any other detailed news. A great problem would arise if by hearing of the miserable condition of his dear devotees. Text 119. Kint vidanim api bhavan yaditan nanukampate yama eva tada sarvan vege nanugrahishyati. But if you don't show your kindness to them now, Yamaraja will soon show them his mercy. If you do not show mercy to the remaining people of Raja, Yama will show mercy. By dying, their misery and lamentation caused by separation from a friend will disappear. Text 120. Yat tatra cha tvayakari nirvisha kaliyo hrida ashoko yam vipulastesham shokenyat karanam shunu. That you rid Kalia's lake of its poison has only increased their misery, and please hear of still other reasons for their sorrow. If they have no means of dying quickly by their will, their lamentation will increase more. In regard to Yama's mercy, making Kalia's lake free of poison is a cause of great sorrow. Since it was impossible to die quickly without poison, they could not die by entering the water. That is explained. There is another reason for sorrow. Text 121. Tatratya Yamuna Swalpa Jala Shushkeva Sajani Govardhano Bhun Nicho Sao Swaprapto Yodritastvaya. There the river Yamuna has turned so dry that she has hardly any water, and Govardhana, which when you held him up touched Swarga, has now become short. Thinness of everything was previously described. This is the cause of sorrow. The Yamuna related to Vraja with huge waves and great depth. The place of your pastimes has almost dried up. Having very little water because of pain in separation from you, one cannot enter a waters to die. One cannot jump off a mountain to die. Govardhana, which you held in your hand, which reached Swarga, being very high, has become very low. It has entered the earth out of sorrow in separation from you. It has entered the earth. The peaks have fallen off. Shikarer, Gurnama, Nesha, Siddhamanaisha Padapai, Vidrishtaschodhatai Shringer Agamakha Gamo Bhavat. When Krishna lifted Govardhana, it reached the sky with high peaks and summits, waving back and forth the trembling trees, waving back and forth the trembling trees. Apluto yam giri paksher iti vidyadharo raga gandharva apsara sashaiva vacho munchanti sarvasha vidyadharas ugras sena gandharvas and apsaras said that the mountain had risen up with wings. Harivamsha, text 122. Nayanti anashanat pranas twan namamrita sevinam param sushka maharanya davagnir bhavita gati. The devotees who relish the nectar of your names cannot die of starvation. Instead, their end will be in a fire in a great dry forest. Those who drink your name, which is sweet and auspicious like nectar, will not leave their bodies by fasting. I guess something else, a fire in the huge forest with trees like Mandira, which has dried up because of drying and separation from you, will be the recourse, Gati. Those who drink your name, which is sweet and auspicious like nectar, will not leave their bodies by fasting. I guess something else, a fire in the huge forest with trees like Mandira, which has dried up because of dying and separation from you, will be their recourse. You will be their recourse, Gati. Text 123. Shri Parikshit Uvacha Shinvannasau Tatpara Dukha Katara Kante Gritva Mrudula Swabhavaka Ramam Mahadina Dina Vadashrudaraya Dautango Rago Rudat Uchassuswaram. Parikshit said, having heard this, Krishna was gentle by nature and tormented by the suffering of others. Parikshit said, having heard this, Krishna was gentle by nature and tormented by the suffering of others, grasped Balrama by the neck and shed a flood of tears. Krishna was gentle by nature and tormented by the suffering of others, grasped Balrama by the neck and shed a flood of tears, like a person whose life is in ruin. As he cried with loud sobs in his beautiful voice, the tears washed away the cosmetics from his body. Hearing Balrama's words, the Lord, who becomes faint-hearted by the grief of others, paradukha katara, or by the grief of even enemies, para, because he had a soft nature, grasped the neck of Balarama and cried loudly. His cosmetics were washed away by the flood of waters. This indicates that he wept profusely. Text 124. पश्चात भूमि तले लुलोट सब बलो मातर मुमोह क्षणात् तादृग्रोदन दुस्त तानु भवतश्चा पूर्व वृत्तात्तयो रोहिण्युद्धव देवकी मदनासु श्री सत्यभामादया सर्वे अंतपुरवासिनो विकलतां भेजुरुदन्तो मुहु. Dear mother, E and Balarama then rolled on the ground and for a moment lost consciousness. Seeing the two lords crying in this unprecedented lamentable state, all the residents of the inner chambers lost control of themselves. Rohini, Uddhava, Devaki, Rukmini, Satyabhama and all the rest, they all lost control and sobbed again and again. Seeing the two lords crying in this unprecedented, lamentable state, all the residents of the inner chambers lost control of themselves. Rohini, Uddhava, Devaki, Rukmini, Satyabhama, and all the rest, they all lost control and sobbed again and again. After crying loudly, he rolled on the ground with Balarama, from directly witnessing Krishna and Balarama crying in this manner and in a terrible condition, rolling on the ground, which had never occurred previously. Apurva Vratat, all the residents of the palace cried constantly and became sorrowful. Madana Su means Rukmini, who was the mother of Pradyumna. And all the residents of the palace cried constantly and became sorrowful. Madana Su means Rukmini, who was the mother of Pradyumna. Cupid Madana, she mentioned in this way, out of great respect for her as the chief of all the queens. Text 125. Shrutwanta purato pura kalitam akrandam mahataswarer Davano Yadavo Javena Vasudeveno Grasena Dayaha Tatra Gatya Tata Vidham Prabhuvaram Drushva Rudan Brifala. When the Yadus heard the sound of loud crying coming from the inner chambers, a sound never heard before. They quickly came running, headed by the Brahmanas arrived. The Brahmanas arrived led by Garga along with all the other people of the city. And when they saw their beloved master in the extraordinary state, the Brahmanas arrived led by Garga along with all the other people of the city. And when they saw their beloved master in this extraordinary state, as they never had before, they too began to cry, overwhelmed. Hearing the loud crying coming from the inner chambers or in the inner chambers, never before experienced, the Yadus and Ugrasena came running along with Vasudeva, who was always thinking of Krishna since he was his father. Seeing the Lord, who had loudly cried and fainted, they cried. Garga, the priest, as well as other Brahmanas like Sandipani, came to pacify him and also began crying. The residents of Dwarak also cried, since they directly experienced something never seen before. The Lord was crying. Thus ends the 6th chapter of Canto 1 of Srila Sanatana Goswami's Bhagavatamrta, entitled Priyatama, the most beloved. Hare Krishna, thank you so much. I would like to end now.